Taylor-Joy and Chris Hemsworth!
You seem excited. Having watched that package, you went, I think I'll see that movie.
I was like, thank you for selling that movie for us. Really grateful.
Looks good, right?
That's the most of the film we've seen. We've only seen it in the black and white version, the sort of muted. Like when in the pre-production, the post-production stage, George, when the special effects aren't finished, just mutes it in black and white, so you watch it with a true sense of the story as opposed to judging it by the unfinished special effects and so on. Anyway. So it looks really good. Congrats.
You got to check it out, guys.
No, you know what? It actually feels really right. We're going to see it for the first time tomorrow with a lot of the crew that made the film. And so that feels holistically important.
And then you can't change it.
Do you want me to ruin the ending?
Right. Do we live? Do we die? Who wins?
Don't tell him.
No.
I've got a great poker face.
I want to see this black and white French art house version of the film, by the way.
Well, that's coming. This is the George does this.
Oh, right.
I think he has, what is it, black, white and chrome?
The chrome version with little...
He's got a version like that.
We should do the project like this. It would be a change everything. Hey, so first off, congratulations. Chris, I want to ask you, as an Australian, because Mad Max, it's a landmark in Australian cinema. Like, it's like you're being inducted into this colossus, you know what I mean? Like, as an Australian, how special is this for you?
Very special. I heard David Collins say, the Americans have Star Wars, the Brits have Harry Potter, and we have Mad Max. Yeah. And, 45 years this franchise has existed. I watched the films with my parents growing up, and as an Australian actor, it was kind of the pinnacle to work with George Miller, but also in a Mad Max film. So it's, pretty wild, kind of pinch yourself moment for sure.
It also feels like, as an Australian, we feel represented as well, which is Mad Max. It's very exciting. And Anya, you're...
We want to be clear. That's not us.
No, it's just me.
She knows. She knows.
But, Anya, you've come here and you shot this film. There's an amazing Australian cast in it. Do you feel now like you've been included into the Australian family? Are you claiming Australian status?
I mean, I hope so. It was so interesting to me. I've actually lived in Sydney longer than I've lived in any other city for my whole adult life. Yeah, I showed up to Sydney Airport yesterday and I was like, I'm home. I know this city like the back of my hand. The food here is insane.
Well, we have a habit of claiming people once we fall in love with them, so you're ours now.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I'll stay.
Passport's in the mail. Chris, you've made so many movies as a hero. What was it like to kind of drill into your villain era?
A lot of fun. There's a lot of sort of, I guess, expectations or limitations playing the hero. That's kind of, you need to, abide by a certain amount of rules and so on. This was interesting. I was trying to tap in. This is going to sound weird because I play a murderous psychopath. But you're trying to tap into the sort of adventurous, the joy, playfulness as a kid when your imagination's allowed to sort of run wild. And that was easier to access with a character that was allowed to break the rules. And so there was one big sort of experiment. And luckily had George there to say, too far, bring it this way, bring it this way. But it was refreshing and creatively satisfying for sure.
So whose decision to cover your gorgeous face with a ridiculous nose?
Anya's.
Really?
I was like, you got to do it. You got to do it. You got to put on the nose.
So you got nose? Is it teeth as well?
I got nose, I got teeth, I got contact lenses.
Wow.
And that shot there, you see, like, that's 15, the film spans across 15 or 20 years. And so there's age, makeup and glue and all sorts of things.
Is that part of the fun? Like it's dressing up to get into the role?
Yeah, and that was, that's why I wanted to be an actor, was the fantasy, the adventure, the transportation into another world and another space. And this was that to the furthest extent that I had the opportunity to do. And, both of us sat in the hair and makeup chair for sort of 3 or 4 hours and transformed. And by the time you look in the mirror, you're like, I don't recognise this individual. So it's a little easier to sort of step into the
villain. Oh, without the nose, you can't be the villain.
I can't.
Well, there was
nice guy, bad guy. Nice
there was
guy,
another Aussie that wore a nose and won an Oscar.
Oh, yeah?
Nicole
Is that
Kidman.
the secret?
Oh, so it could be an Oscar.
The Oscar nose theory, I'm really
I'm going to get a bigger nose.
That's solid.
But Anya, you had your own appearance issue, right? Because you, I understand, wanted to shave your head for the role and you weren't allowed to do that?
I was so excited to do it. I think I'd been looking for a role where I got to do that forever. And then I showed up and George just loved my hair. And he's the gentlest, sweetest man. And he was like, no, it cannot go. And I was like, but I'm ready. But yeah, I attached something to it, which is, I think, You know, Furiosa's stolen from her home, and I think there's an element of her that thinks by keeping her hair, she'll be able to go back home kind of as the same girl as she was.
Right.
And that sort of leads to a very climactic moment where it's like, no, you've been forever changed and you have to become this creature now.
And do you think you didn't cut your arm off in real life?
I'm committed.
So do you think when people do get to see Furiosa that they'll think Charlize Theron did a great job of playing the character that you've now set up?
I feel so lucky that I fell in love with this character through Charlize's interpretation. Fury Road blew my mind in such a huge way. And I think for both Chris and I, we never thought we'd have the opportunity to play in this sandbox. So when the opportunity came, I'm just so grateful for the work that they did on that movie. And it's still one of my favourite movies of all time.
And there was a lot of sand.
A lot of sand.
A lot of sand.
Inhalation
A lot of
of sand.
dust.
How much did you ingest during filming of this movie?
I've been so dirty and like...
Still cleaning it out.
I've been so dirty and bloody my entire career, and that has nothing on this film. Like, it was 7 layers of blood and dirt, and at one point I was like, whoa. Okay.
7 Layers of Blood and Dirt sounds like a good autobiography title or something.
Yeah, exactly. That's my book.
Colour.
Yeah. Well, Furiosa, a Mad Max Saga, is in cinemas everywhere on the 24th of May, but we're not done with it yet. Stick around, please, because we have the writer, the director, the producer, George Miller, joining Chris and Anya at the desk.
Please welcome the one and only George Miller.
Oh my God, this is so exciting to have you here. Now, I want to know how long this movie has been going on in your head for, because we're crossing timelines now. It's a huge saga, this movie,
Yeah.
the whole Mad Max universe. How long has it been kicking around in your head?
Oh, I'd say well over a decade, this story. We had it written before we actually shot Fury Road, because we couldn't tell the story of Fury Road without knowing this story and what happened to the characters and the world. So it's been around that long, and we were able to show it to the actors and the cast and crew back then. And then eventually, when that film worked, we said, OK, let's give this one a shot. And here we are.
So you
just finished last week.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So you had, I mean, this is full on. You had that in your head for a decade.
Well, it was written down.
Are you okay?
But are you,
Yeah, we have big nightmares.
Are you okay in there? Like,
Have you done a similar thing with Babe Pig in the City at all? Have you got a...
Kicking around.
No, nothing?
I often ask myself, am I okay? I hope I am. I can't tell. You have to see the movie to see.
We think you're great, George.
Hey, in this country, as we know, Hemsworths, they are heroes. So what made you know that this bloke was your man to be a villain?
I don't know. I met him. I knew his work. We talked. It was only about an hour and a half, and we talked about so many different things. I realised, there's a lot going on in here too. Maybe he's the crazy one.
He's insane.
I was going to say, I thought he was going to stop with, I met him.
And same as with this one as well. I mean, we met by Zoom. It was during COVID and stuff. But you had worked with Edgar Wright, and Edgar spoke so well of you. I suddenly thought, oh my God, here's someone who's got the discipline and the rigour to take on this role. It's a big role to take on.
So, Anya, what about for you? Like, had you delved into the Mad Max world at all before this came and found you?
It was Fury Road for me. I was working in Belfast, and as a cast bonding trip, we went to see this movie, and it's in my top 3 movie theatre going experiences ever. At the end of the film, I just stood up and clapped because I was so utterly transported and just thought, oh, I wonder if I'll ever get the opportunity to do something as unique and one of a kind as this. And so the second that George called, I was like, yep, I will be there.
So then cut to you hanging off the back of a spiked semi-trailer.
It's
Are
so
you suddenly
cool.
going, this was not a great idea?
No, it was... Chris and I have talked about this a lot. I think sometimes you can be so in your head and in the head of a character that you kind of forget how much you wanted this. And when you step on set to a Mad Max movie, the set builds, the vehicles, everything's done to such an incredible standard of, artistry that we were both looking at each other thinking, this is all I wanted when I was a kid. I wanted to be here doing this, and George creates that magic, and it's a magic that's super rock and roll. Like, there's not many movies that start off with start your engine instead of action.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's pretty great.
There's so much about it. George, the Australians, the cast of the Australians are in there. It's an amazing cast. Like early on, we were talking Tim Rogers, Ian Roberts. There's some people you wouldn't associate with being in there. Almost
The umbilical brothers are in there.
Yeah. Almost everyone, maybe except this panel, got in the show. How exciting was that to have like a cast almost all with Australian accents like appearing in these scenes?
Well, it was a big thing because the film is unmistakably set in Australia. When we think about the first Mad Max being dubbed with American accents when it was released in the United States.
I've watched that version of it.
Yeah, it's weird.
It's so weird. It's one of the weirdest things you can ever watch.
And in this one, there was never any question. And you came along and you just started to speak with that accent. And no one ever commented. The studio never questioned it.
Hemsworth. What are you going to do?
Well, it's not contemporary English, Australian accent. You based it on one of your grandfathers.
Yeah, my grandfather used to have a. Me and my brothers just impersonate him and be going, "Hey, how you going, kids? What are you doing? Hey, are you hungry? Come outside." And so I wanted to have an accent that was Australian and familiar, but not of this time. And as the Mad Max world is a fictionalised version of something, and so it kind of fit, and then a few other influences, but the nasality and the rhythm to how my grandfather spoke kind of fit the poetry in the way that George writes as well. So.
One of the things I love about the world that you've created here is the names of the characters. We've got Dr. Dementus, there's the brothers, there's Rictus and Scrotus, of course. Cheeto the Fragile. My personal favourite, Piss Boy. George, two things. What is your favourite? And then what would my name be in the post-apocalyptic world?
You've got to give me time on that one. I mean, I don't.
George, we don't have time. We'll go around the table and everyone can come up with their own names and submit them anonymously.
Rovofius.
Sounds solid.
Say it with the accent.
Rovofius.
So dreamy too, like looking you right in the eyes. What about this? Let's say I've got a bunker.
Yeah.
Okay. We're in the let's say fictionally. I've got a bunker. It's in the post-apocalyptic world. I can only fit... This goes to the group.
Okay, great.
I've only got so many people I can fit in my bunker. What skills, what Mad Max skills can you bring and offer to make yourself bunker worthy? George, I'll let you go last. Go around the table. Hemsworth, hit it.
No, you start the table here.
No.
And don't say handsome. I don't want handsome. It makes you a threat. I don't need that.
You know,
Carrying things.
Are you good with your hands?
You can do good with my hands. Good with massages. And, you know, you and I have had some great massages.
Okay, there's no more room for anyone else.
Wow.
Deep tissue.
Anya, what about you? What have you got? Secret skills?
Oh my God, I guess.
A lot.
Wait, no, you answer for me. That's it.
Yeah. Sorry, no, you answer. You got to answer that.
Please.
She could ride a motorbike when she was a kid.
Oh.
She never learned to drive and learned to drive on this movie and did stunts.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so...
There's some seriously high-pressure driving in this.
I think I mistakenly or like hopefully believe that I can actually do anything, and I think that will like take you so far. Obviously,
Taylor Joy,
like
you're in the bunker.
thanks. Thanks.
George, Dr. Miller, sir.
There's nothing I can do. I honestly would not survive.
Do you know what? Knowing what's in your head, I think you'll be fine outside the bunker.
Unbelievable stories. The oldest thing that human beings have done, learning by telling stories. This man is definitely in the bunker.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm
but
afraid
that's
the
all I
rest
can
of you,
do.
there's no more.
You can bring all these movies on DVD to watch in the bunker.
Done.
You know,
There you go.
Mad Max.
Just
right?
quickly, we're almost out of time, Chris. You're chairperson of the Met Gala next week, is it?
Oh, yeah.
Incredible. I need
Are
to
you
know.
going?
Are you going to wear the nose?
Yes, I am now.
Oh,
I didn't
really?
think about it. No.
So you're styled by me when people say what you're wearing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Gordon.
I should have worn the nose and the teeth and the whole thing. Yeah, it's me, Jennifer Lopez, and Bad Bunny.
Hey!
Wow.
So it's
Bad Bunny.
I mean, you know, I was going to turn up in my wetsuit top or my board shorts and stuff.
yeah,
See how
yeah.
that goes down.
I love it.
Yeah.
I want
does
to
a co-chair
I want to
do?
go into that bunker instead.
Rose obsessed with bunkers.
Anna Winter is coming, you could say.
I'm drinking the rocks urine in there, apparently.
A Furiosa, a Mad
the audience
Max
just went-
Saga.
No.
It is hitting cinemas on May 23. It is epic. Go see it. Would you please give a huge thanks to these incredible stars, Chris Hemsworth,